Hey guys, my name is Ansley Kicklighter. I'm a junior at Savannah Christian, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys have probably heard bits and pieces of my story, but I wanted to take this opportunity to really talk to you about what happened and how I got to where I was and how I've gotten to where I am now. I was born into a Christian family, and even though we weren't divorced or there wasn't some huge death in our family or some huge thing that happened that made our family hard to live together, we still were dysfunctional. My dad was working a lot all the time when I was little and growing up, and that was hard for me. I always felt like it was just my mom and me having a relationship together. I never felt like I had a relationship with him. When I started high school in 9th grade, I developed an eating disorder, and honestly, I can't even tell you how it began. It snuck up on me. All of a sudden, I just started wanting to eat healthy, and I took what could have been a healthy lifestyle and made it completely obsessive. Something in me desired that control, and that new control over food and over what went into my body fed that desire for control in me. So that started, and I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't really want to admit that I was starting to do this thing, because I'd always heard about eating disorders, but I never thought I could ever have one. It was kind of like, oh, I'll never have that problem. I'm perfectly fine with everything in my life kind of thing. And all of a sudden, this problem started to sneak up on me. And I found comfort in this secret. It made me feel like I was in control of things that I could not control. I could not control my best friend's mom dying. I couldn't control my dad not being involved in my life. I couldn't control my grades slipping. I couldn't control anything at all. I felt like the one thing I could control was what went into my body. And when I started seeing the consequences of it, like the weight loss and people asking me questions, it made me feel good. I was like, wow, I'm actually doing something that is working right now. This is helping me cope with everything that's going on in my life. And I don't know, it felt like my secret, something that nobody else knew. After about a year of struggling with eating and struggling with self-image and control and all of that, things started to become more uncontrollable, to be ironic. I felt like for a whole year and a half, I felt like I was controlling food. I was controlling this problem, but in reality, it was controlling me. A year ago, this Thanksgiving, I was put into the hospital for all my weight loss. And truthfully, that was a wake-up call for me. My mom had been taking me to the doctor pretty much every week because she was trying to monitor me so much, which made me mad, but now I'm kind of grateful for it, or I would have never made it to where I am. But I got in the hospital, and I was so sick. I couldn't think, I couldn't do anything, because this whole eating disorder had just gotten so out of control. Laying in that hospital bed is when the first time I saw my dad cry. And that was huge for me, because I'd never seen him display any kind of emotion like that. For the first time, I really felt like he noticed me. He noticed what was going on in my heart. He noticed that I was worth being looked at. After a week in the hospital of them trying to refuel my body so I wouldn't have heart failure, I went to treatment. My family decided that they would send me to inpatient treatment, and I was so mad. I felt like my physical condition was nowhere near as bad as everybody was making out for it to be. Yeah, I knew I had a problem in my brain. I was completely detached from all my friends. I felt alone at school. I felt like I was the only one going through issues in life. And the worst part was, people looked at me and thought, wow, she's got everything together. There's no way she could ever have any kind of issues. At the beginning of treatment, I felt completely lost, like hopeless. Like I could not even though I wanted to, I couldn't make myself eat. I felt like this is it, like this is the end of me. I've ruined my whole life, like I'm gonna die. I can't do this. I felt like I was gonna have to go through recovery alone. I had no idea what God had in store for my family's healing, for my healing. And so the first couple months of treatment were the hardest, but then my family came in the middle of January for a week of family counseling and family therapy, and I kid you not, I've never seen anything like it. My dad completely opened up. He told me all about how he grew up with a dad that was even less relational than he is, and that just made me understand so much better why he had problems communicating. And I understood that it wasn't me. It wasn't me that he didn't want to be with. He just needed to learn how. I learned that the reasons for my eating disorder were my dad, were my control issues, were my desire to always be perfect, to always measure up to somebody's standard, and life isn't about that. And God completely just like picked me up and taught me so much and poured me out and just broke me, and he broke me to heal me. Since treatment, it hasn't been all sunshine and flowers. I mean, recovery is never an easy process, ever. Not for drug addicts, not for alcoholics, not for self-harm, and not for my eating disorder. It's not easy. I cover up pain a lot. I'm not myself when I'm going through something, and it affects everybody I love. It affects my family, it affects my friends, it affects them because I try and be somebody that I'm not when I'm in pain, because I don't want to feel that pain, and that's something that I've had to learn. I've never felt so blessed in my whole life. Like, I do not deserve the life that I have right now. I went through 2.5 years of starving myself and blocking everybody out of my life and completely turning from God, and I was just in this huge darkness. And it is by God's grace that I was sent to treatment. At the time, I was mad. Now I look back, it saved my life, for real. I look at pictures of how I was, and I'm like, you know what? That is a girl who is hurting and so closed-minded to what God really had for her. And now, even though I'm still learning and I still have issues, I feel like I have hope. So if you have something in your life that's going on right now that you know you need help for, or you feel like it could be leading to a place where you're going to need help, ask somebody to help you. Or just come, talk to me about it. I'd love to talk to you more about my story. I don't have a ton of time to tell you all the details, even though I'd love to. Talk to Allison, talk to Doug, talk to somebody that you know has your best interest in heart. And I don't know, I guess that's